very good morning. I hope that you're doing well from wherever it is you're watching. Tonight is the debate. That aside, we have a debate of our own right here. Anasema kata sim tupo site. Basi tuko hapa hivi. Today we want to talk about it's a sensitive topic, and just by what I've seen online just yesterday, and this is just, you know, if this was a poll, the samples that I've seen online point to, you know, there are a lot of people who are walking around living with a lot of hurt because of the things that people have said, either to them or about them and all of that. So the thing is, and this is interesting because I tried to also look at, you know, some of of course, the ones we're going to post today and the ones we're sharing we've blurred out the names, but even if you look at some of those people's pages, they look like they're having a ball. You would have no idea that they're going through some of the things that they're going through, and they're carrying around some of the pain that they're carrying around. So today we want to talk about words and, you know, watch what you say. There's a famous song by Terrace Riley that says, your words have no meaning because umesema sorry for such a long time. So I want to talk about that. And also because we asked you the question on our platforms and you were able to respond, we're going to share some of the feedback we got, just to paint a picture to also help you understand that you're also not alone in all of this. Many people where you are have been where you are, but that doesn't mean that your pain is not individual. Yes, many people are going through it, but what you're feeling is individual, and you have to deal with that yourself. Right, to help us do that, we have Shazmin Bank.
Yes.
How you doing?
Missouri.
Uko sawa?
Poa BA Itel.
Poa BA Itel. Batman thing. Wagwan. Amazing. Good. Hii kinaigunza wanafanya kazi. All right, Bobby. How you doing? Uko sawa?
Niko salama sana.
Uko freshi?
Niko freshi barida. Niko amazing. Niko better than best.
Uko better than best.
Amazing. Niko sina hiyo accent.
Yeah, man. You're better than best.
They tweak. But niko salama sana wewe?
Yeah, hata mimi niko poa. Niko poa sana. I'm happy. I'm very happy.
That's really good.
And CJ.
How are you doing?
I'm super.
All right.
Doing very well. I'm happy.
You're happy? Okay.
Yes, I'm happy. I'm just happy generally this morning, also because I had liver for breakfast. But yeah, I'm very happy. All right, so I want to jump into this conversation. And many people, if you look at, I mean, I was trying to look across, and I've seen, I think, in the Bible, in the Quran, it's called the Bhagavad Gita. I think there is, all of them have something to say about the power of words. So I guess we'll begin there. You also asked the question on your social media. Yeah. And from what we see, a lot of people are carrying around stuff that mainly their parents also said. Of course, there are other things as well. But why is it difficult to talk about this particular hurt that, you know, words cause? How come people are not talking more about it?
Because you're expected not to. You're expected to understand when your parents say something. And I think especially when you're a young teenager and you're living at home, you don't know what to do with what your parents say except believe it. It's only later in life when you grow up and we're in, you know, the information world now, where we learn, okay, what can we do with the words that we were told? How can we heal? But when you're so young, you're so naive, your parents are your heroes. You put them on a pedestal. They are almost not human to you. And so anything that your parents say to you, you believe it and it sticks. It sticks in your psyche, it sticks in your body. You hold on to it as energy. But what's worse that parents don't realize, when you say negative words and you put your children down and you say things to them, even though it's in anger, what you don't realize is the child is consistently repeating that in their subconscious mind. So for you, it might be a moment of you're useless, you should have never been born, you're the worst thing that happened, you'll never succeed in life. And now it's out. And as a parent, you probably feel, I probably shouldn't have said that. That was in the heat of the moment. But the child or the teenager or the young adult is already dealing with so much in their own lives, already feeling inadequate, fitting into school, with their grades, with their friends, with their teachers. And now you as a parent, when you say that to them, they are playing it over and over in their minds. And when they do not succeed as teenagers and young adults, that comes back because mom and dad said that I'm useless, because I will not succeed. And you don't realize that your subconscious mind is 95% of who you are. Your conscious mind is only 5%. But to be able to even access the subconscious mind, you got to get through the analytical mind. And we stop as human beings and teenagers because the frontal lobe's not even developed till 25. And so you are living their words instead of being taught not to. You know, you grow up saying sticks and stones will break my bones, but words. Yeah, but they do hurt me because I don't know what to do with that pain. So it does hurt me and it does stay in my psyche. And I think for me, the most heartbreaking thing yesterday was literally seeing that, putting that poll on our Instagram, almost 80% of what everyone was saying, even if they were adults, was what their parents said to them when they were young.
Yeah, and some have, they remember, like when I was 15, when I was 12, when I was 9, and even something to say to their brothers and everybody else. But Bobby, sometimes people say that some of these things, people will tell you, no, use it. Fight so that, you know, you use it as fuel to get you to the next level. So there is that, what looks like a balance. But then clearly, again, looking at some of those people, those who have written their jobs in the bio, some were doctors, some were lawyers, some are fairly successful, at least by social media standards. But still, the way they were expressing themselves, they still carry the heart. So how does one, you know, kind of process?
You see, the things with feelings, and I say this all the time, is that you can't wish them away. Feelings are meant to be felt. They are supposed to be present. You're supposed to deal with them in the time that you feel them. So it doesn't matter whether you use it to fuel yourself or manini, whatever consequences come after what you felt is later. But when something happens to you or when you're feeling something, you need to validate that feeling. And you need to understand that it is very okay, it's very normal, it's very valid for you to be feeling the way you're feeling, and deal with it in the time that it exists in that time. There's something CJ said, Kitambo, about 2 episodes ago. He was telling us a story about his dad. And something clicked in my mind that day. He was talking about how he'd been keeping all this anger and hurt, and then his whole career is based off of the things he went through because of his dad. So then you start to see that later, okay, the fueling part and the nini, it comes, but you have to be patient and you have to go through your feelings now. You'll not see it'll push you to become a better person in that moment that you're feeling.
You'll just be feeling pain.
Yeah, you'll just be feeling pain. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying you need to feel that pain. You need to sit in it and understand it. And unfortunately, is that most of these things our parents or our siblings or our lovers say to us happen even before, maybe, like Shazmin said, before we're fully developed and grown enough to be able to understand that maybe that's just a projection, or maybe they just said it in the heat of the moment. You can't understand anything beyond the fact that whatever they said hurt your feelings and it's painful and it's very bad. But after you start growing up is when you start understanding that most of people's reactions is just to do with them. It has nothing to do with you. Whether it's your mom who said, Sijui, you're a this, Sama, you did this, Sama, your dad said this. Most times it has nothing to do with you. It's things they feel about themselves. It's anger they've bottled up themselves. It's things they have been through themselves, and now they are mirroring it onto you. So the more you start to grow, you start understanding better and you start being able to handle these situations better. But in the moment that you're feeling your pain, I think it's very important that we teach people or we tell people that it's okay for you to validate your feelings. Akunaja, because if you do not, that's when you start thinking of things like revenge. You start staying bitter. You start dwelling in the anger. You sit in that pain and you do not see anything else that's beyond. You don't see, oh, maybe I can do something else with my life, or if my mom said this, maybe I can do this. So it takes a lot of growth and time, and you need to be patient with yourself, because for real, before 25, there's so many things that you cannot understand. There's so many things that you can't even comprehend. Like if someone told me 5 years ago, your mom just said that because, I'd be like, nah, she said, she's my mom, she knows better, she's the parent, she's ni. So much anger. But now it's just, she had never been a parent before to a child that age. She's also doing life for the first time. And I'm not saying, Ati, you invalidate your feelings or you just move past it and forgive and forget. I'm saying that the more you grow, the more you start understanding where people's reactions come from, and it becomes easier for you to not take things personally, and it becomes easier for you to make an intentional choice to start growing and doing better. But until then, any pain that you're feeling, whatever someone said, whatever you feel or whatever was done to you, your pain is very valid, and it's very advisable for you to feel your feelings and validate them. Yeah.
And speaking about parents as well, CJ, the thing is, and Shaz alluded to it, that we see our parents as heroes. So my question is, if, like those people who are, you know, talking about when they're 15, when they're 17 and 12, these certain things were said to them, do they, for them to get past it and to heal, do they address these issues now? Do they go and talk to their parents now and say, you know, when you're 15, you said this and it made me feel this way and I've struggled with this? Or do they just understand, like Bobby said, that, you know what, again, maybe at the time they were doing life for the first time, etc., maybe they've made changes and let's just respect the changes they've made. Now your story, Ishe.
Well, I think that even when you're 40, words still have a way of getting to you. Because normally it depends on who says what. That's why you'll see people walk out of a marriage, a relationship, because they won't believe that the person they give their heart said that.
Right.
And when Shaz is talking about the analytical mind, you know, when somebody says something about you, you begin to process. Like, it's not just what he said. Is this what he's been thinking all this while? Is this the reason why he acted this way or the other way? So it normally opens up a lot. So you find friends. One person will say something that is very hurtful, and the other person will keep on saying, you know, I'm not angry with them, but I don't feel like having them back in my life, because they're still trying to process that. Like, where did this thought come from? You want to go back to the seed of that thought. Like, nobody just wakes up and says, Bobby, you're like this. That's what my mind will tell me, that this thing must have been premeditated. So even when you're 40 or something, I mean, there are people who will have been married for 20 years and their partner will say something and they will feel, this is what you felt all this while. And it takes a lot of convincing for them to even come to the place of, well, it was just in the heat of the moment. It just puts a responsibility on us on words that we speak. Like, you've got to think about it, no matter what you're feeling. But coming back to whether they should go back and talk to their parents, that also depends on several other factors. Are the parents the kind of people that you can actually go back to and have a conversation?
In terms of temperament or?
Well, even just connection.
Okay.
Even just the connection. You know, well, as somebody can treat you in a certain way at 10, that even when you're 60, you still feel the same way around them. You would feel powerful everywhere and walk around this person, and they may not even have what you have.
Right.
But the way they treated you when you were 10, you came around them and you feel you're this little boy who comes and shrinks. So you'll hear people talk about, they still do not know how to talk to their parents and raise issues, because some of them grew up under so much fear. They have so much fear for their parents, no matter how successful they are everywhere else, that they wouldn't even know how to begin that conversation. Sometimes then it's just good to reach out to somebody else and talk to them about how you feel. And I think this is why we've got therapists, we've got coaches, and people don't like coming to us, but they always want to self-medicate.
Google.
Yeah, but this is the reason why you have, so that you can have conversations somewhere where you wouldn't have a conversation elsewhere. And even when you go back to have the conversation, either with your parent or the sibling, you are coming from a healed place to have that conversation. You come from a point of understanding as well. And you're ready for any reaction. You're ready for them to be defensive. You're ready for them to react as well, whichever way. But you're
to have selective amnesia.
Yeah, but you're a bit more prepared for that conversation, because coming from a healed place, you're doing it for you, not even for them. You're not trying to put them in a place where they've got to feel guilty. And I think that's why when Shaz started and said, you know, we're not expected to, there's this delicate balance of how much do I bring out about family matters. You know, whatever happens in the family stays in the family.
Yeah.
So how much do I bring out? If I sit here and say I went through abuse, you know, the repercussions of that. There's so many other people who are involved, yet that is my truth. But then what happens now to the other people? And sometimes those situations have also been handled at the family levels. So it's something that people have talked about. They have gone past it, but it is still your story. So you don't know the balance of, should I bring it up? Will it take us back to where we used to be? Yet I still feel this. So I think it's really a complex thing for most people. But where there has been openness from the very start, or where people have learned to be a bit more open, like Robertta was saying, you know, nowadays the parents can talk in a different way. I had you say the same thing as well. Where there's more openness and people have more knowledge, then those conversations can be had. Then you can always go back. And it doesn't have to be a formal setting like, you know, we need to talk, Dad, we need to talk. It's very tense. It could just be...
Even on a drive.
Yeah. It could just be, and as simple as, you know, I really appreciate that nowadays you let me talk to you, because when I was growing up, I felt you didn't give me that opportunity. So it's an informal and a light talk, but the message
is there.
is there.
Oh, I have a question though. What if over time there've been changed behavior? Do you, like for example, just using an example, like before it used to be, you know, it's one way, and any question I ask you is rhetoric. I don't need an answer from you. That's it. But now you realize that you have a voice, and it's not even necessarily because of your pocket or your position in the family, firstborn, lastborn. It's just that now they are more receptive. So do you still bring it up, or do you just appreciate, whew, we've come a mighty long way, let's just take the win? Yeah. What do you think?
You know, it is so interesting because in all the work I've ever done, the biggest thing I'll do when I sit with clients is not even get them to go back to the event, because they've done it enough. You've tortured yourself with the one event that happened. It was one event, and you have replayed it and overlived it over and over. And this is when neuroscience even teaches you that when you relive an event, even if it was traumatic in that moment, you reliving it, the mind and the body do not know the difference. And so it rethinks that you're going through that all over again. And so the biggest thing in coaching that we do is, even when people come to me with trauma or they've gone through something really, really dire, I will not have them go back to the event, and I will not have them relive it. Because now healing is about not understanding where the other person is. It's about understanding where you are. And the biggest thing people don't understand is every single day we live non-consciously. We're not conscious human beings. So we're non-conscious in how we wake up, how we go to bed, and how we live in between our day with the same thoughts, the same feelings, and so we get the same results. It is shown that by the time you are 35, you are programmed to be a habit, because you have wired and rewired the brain and the body over and over with the same thoughts from childhood up until this moment. And then as the same human being, you're wondering, why don't I have an amazing life? Why don't I have great relationships? Why can I not attract my dream job? Why can I not live the life I want? Because the same personality that created all the scenarios around you, when you understand quantum mechanics and quantum energy, is the same personality that cannot create the life you want. And so, when you do meditation to heal, not because the other person's changing, but because you want to change, Meditation is not to just sit and go quiet. Meditation is to get through the analytical mind, all the noise, to get into the subconscious to reprogram, so that now you can have the life you want that is free of the words that have been said to you, that is free of the trauma that was done to you. Because when you think about it, if I ask anyone, even people at home right now, and you've noticed people like this as well, what creates a mood? When you tell somebody you seem to be in a bad mood, what happened? And they say, 5 days ago, this person in traffic hurt me. And then they take that moment, and what creates a personality is 5 years ago, 15 years ago, because you learn to live with what happened to you, not breaking it down to be able to heal. How do you heal? You sit in meditation daily, not to go quiet. But first, the most basic step is to say, where did I go unaware in my day? Where I lost grace, where I allow someone to get to me, where I relived trauma, where I allow the trauma to make me speak in a way that was unconscious. Because it comes down to you. It doesn't matter. And that's the biggest thing I've learned is the minute you can empower someone, that you can change your life and you can heal without the other person, without solving what happened to you then, you now experience freedom. And freedom is love. And to get to a place of love, you have to subconsciously get into a state where you practice it, not with the mind that allow you to create it.
Wow. Want to just take a look at that one. That was the whole, like, there was a moment I was listening, then I put myself in the position, then I moved out, it was a whole cycle. Then I was like, have I been meditating? Because most people think meditation is shut everything off and just sit there and think. But yeah, that's quite interesting. Like we said, we had a chance to ask you some of the questions and just to paint a picture of what it's been like. Don't worry, we've blurred the names. So let's take a look at what some of you are saying on social media when we asked, you know, what are the things that somebody has said that hurt you? I'm going to have to try and read them. Hold up. Let's see. So this is some responses. I think this was from Shaz. So somebody was saying, my mother called me a prostitute when I was 15 because a boy had called me using her number. Somebody else says, I was living with my aunt when my dad was at his lowest. Me and my sister were the ones who asked her if we could stay with her. And then one day she says, nobody asked me to stay with them. Then somebody says, somebody said, I pity you. I knew you'd never survive without us. This was, CJ, a pastor. Not CJ, but let's not get it twisted. All right, this is somebody else who says, somebody said, mind your own business. This was said to somebody after helping them grow their business. This was hurtful. Somebody said, I haven't recovered. I lost weight, and my mom told me I look like someone who's had an abortion. All right. So there are some more. Somebody says that I was told I'm pretending to be depressed and should snap out of it, and I'm grieving for too long. Somebody says I'm useless and stupid. I'll never amount to anything, yet I held this girl through, it goes on to say, the deepest moments. Here's another. This is someone saying, nothing good will ever come out of you. This was my first cousin who I legit saw as a sister. Dad passed on in 2019, and in my grieving, my aunt told me, sweetie, wewe ni mkubwa usilie. Somebody said, that's why God is not opening doors for you. My husband told me this. I shared my music link to someone on WhatsApp, and the guy replied, kuwa famous kwanza, tutashare. Crazy. Somebody says, you belong and don't belong to our family. This was actually my grandmother who told me this. My mom calling me an embarrassment after finding out that I wasn't straight. Sorry about that. I want nothing to do with you. This was somebody that they were seeing. I repeat it again. And yeah, I think we'll take this as the last one. Yeah, I had a mental breakdown, and they said they can't be with me anymore because I'm too much. My brother once told me, I'll make nothing of my life. I don't love you. I'm only with you because I see a future with you. I don't love you. I'm only with you because I see a future with you. Luckily, this is an ex. You're the least attractive from everyone I've dated before. Oh. This is my boyfriend who told me this once. So it's a mix, right? From parents to even people that you see. Hadima Shosho, even grandmothers. So it's quite a mix there. So when it comes to relationships, of course, parents is still one. And when it comes to relationships, as you can see, first of all, sorry to all of you who've had those hurtful words said to you in case you're watching and you saw the poll yesterday. Pole sana, that you had to go through that. But some of the things that have been said there, CJ, from even people that you are relating with, in terms of you're in a relationship with this person, it's your partner. Somebody tells me, you're the least attractive, and they're there with you. Somebody says you'll never amount to anything, a husband. So in the space of a relationship, because sometimes things are said and people just live with them. How does somebody get over such painful words that were said by your significant other? And this is again, like you said, thinking, sasa kama nasema I'm useless and I'm attractive, and we are 12 years in. What does that mean?
You know, I once had a situation where a lady had left home, but the husband had asked her to leave. Mm-hmm. And later on, the man came back to his senses, hopefully, and he asked me to get his wife back. So I said, why did she leave? He said, I told her to leave. So I tried to understand why he did that, and he said he was upset. But he was sorry, so he wanted the wife to come back home. So I reached out to the wife and got her to meet me in the office. And she was crying. She said, you know, he wants me to come back, but this man will want to hold me in intimacy, but he calls me all kinds of names. And she said, I cannot reconcile the two. He wants to be intimate, but he calls me a prostitute, he calls me all this stuff. And the man never realized that the things that he was saying were going into the core of this person, which is the soul. When words are spoken by partners, intimacy is lost. When negative words are spoken by partners, intimacy is lost. The person may stay in the marriage because they are considering other factors, maybe the children, or they can't leave, or they don't know what to do, and they can even justify that probably you're going through a bad day, but something will be lost. Remember, relationships begin around words.
Right.
You approach the other person and you speak to them. You first win them
with
the words.
Yeah.
If words captured them, words can repel them. So if you don't deal with the words that have been spoken and the words that are being spoken, you're actually going to lose that relationship. People sleep in different bedrooms in the same house because they don't want to part ways, but they'll just stay there. Other people will just have a business arrangement, you know, because they started a business together and none of them is willing to pull out. So they need to have the face. But generally, when a partner speaks something that is negative, that has to be addressed. Whichever way that will be done, because trust has to be rebuilt for that relationship to work. If you don't rebuild the trust, the intimacy will be forever lost. And that's why you find people getting into, you know, they'll talk about 20 years and they say they got into a stage where their marriage is just flat, it's boring because it's taken long. It's not really that it's taken long. It's unresolved issues. It's these matters that people want to just brush aside. You know, somebody's hurtful with words, then they'll remember your birthday, then they say, okay, let's just go past it. But those words, really, you know, Shazmin talks about the replaying, but some of these words are very stubborn. They're like weeds. Like you try to go past it, but every time this person tries to approach you, you remember they said I'm the ugliest. So you can't really reconcile. Like they said I'm the ugliest unless they work around what they said. You'll always remember that. It's nearly like classic conditioning. You know, you'll always remember that when I'm coming to this person, they feel I'm ugly. And you begin to become insecure when you see them with other people. Because you think, well, they're with the other people because I'm the ugliest person that they've ever had. So what happens to this lady? She loses confidence. And that is where the intimacy is eaten up. She may even forgive, but what about her confidence? She will lose confidence. She will keep on thinking, you know, I don't measure up. So I think in relationship setups, first of all, Willis, I'll try to be the advocate for prevention is better than cure.
Right.
Just watch out what you say when you're upset, whatever it is. If you're upset about something, tackle the issue, not the person. Don't speak bad about the person. Don't attack the person. You don't like how they're handling money, talk about how they're handling money. Don't say they're foolish. Don't say they're stupid. You don't like the grades they're getting in school, tell them you can do better in class. Don't say you're a dunderhead. You know, do not put words in somebody that will take you nearly a lifetime to bring back. So if you don't like how somebody dressed that day, just say, you know, you could have dressed better than this. Don't you think that these other clothes will do better for you than to say they are ugly?
Or they're just like a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just learn to separate the issue from the person. And then sometimes what people do, and this is probably, you know, just who they are. If they've been hurt a lot, they feel that they need to hurt other people as well. And sometimes somebody actually, when I talked about premeditation, they actually want to say it like that so that you feel the pain. They may not think that it is true, but they want to say something that will hurt you. And you see, that's a very bad place to be, because why would you want to say something that would have that effect on somebody? And then later on say, well, it's not true, but I was just upset, so I said this to you. Because they want you to feel the pain that they are feeling. Now, that's a very warped way of dealing with your own pain. I would just keep on saying, look, watch out for what you say. Those words will come back to you. See, I'm sitting over here, I'm thinking, when we started talking, and I'm thinking, I hope my children will not grow up and talk about something I say to them.
Yeah, right.
And I've got to relieve that. Like, I'm thinking I need to have a conversation
with them.
And go and say, guys, if there be anything that I did or said, I'm sorry about that. Because sometimes you're not conscious, but sometimes people say those things meaning to hurt you, where they know, okay, when I talk about this, it will hurt Willis. So let me say this thing so that he feels the pain. But what we don't realize is how much we lose by those words. So in a relationship setup, please try to rebuild that trust. Ask for forgiveness if you are the one who was at the other person. Ask for forgiveness and be genuine about it. And then don't repeat that again. Show remorse. Show that, you know, you're working towards becoming a better person. If you feel that you have your own unresolved issues and anger and all of that pain, you know, open up to your partner and tell them so that they can know how to help you as well. Get out of that situation, because you're going to lose much more than you think you will.
And one of the things is, you know, we've... Hey, Leo. You know, I'm trying to talk through it, but I was thinking about it so much. I'm coming back as you're speaking. Anyway. So sometimes then it passes a point where something has been said to us. I know one of my favorite comedians is Madea or Tyler Perry, and he said it's not about what people call you, it's about what you answer to. But then we have a situation where sometimes we've been told, we say it ourselves, whether it's self-deprecating humor or whether it is just you've been told you're foolish, you're a dunderhead, and so sometimes you find yourself in conversation like, how did I miss that? And I'm so stupid. So how do you, talk yourself out of talking bad about yourself?
Words are very, very powerful. And I tell this to everyone around me, even my friends. I tell them, don't say, I'm broke. Say, I don't have enough right now. Don't say, I'm stupid. Don't say, I'm ugly. Because thoughts become things. Words become things. Whatever you keep saying, subconsciously it manifests. So you have to be careful. And I was just listening to CJ. I was really lost in it.
Me too. CJ took us on like a journey. I was like, what?
But kama kuna watu mnafamsikize ni CJ na Shazmin.
Yeah.
But
now you're doing what you're saying we shouldn't do.
Not away with
I am a student today. Hata mimi nisikize sana.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I want to reiterate like what Shaz and CJ said. For you to do that, for you to get yourself out of being that person, you have to take what Shazmin and CJ said and merge them. And what Shazmin said is the mindfulness, the consciousness. You have to start taking charge and being aware. It's very difficult. Everything CJ was saying, I feel like he was talking about me because I do this thing where when I'm upset or when I'm angry, I get condescending. And I don't realize it. It's just when someone hurts me in my head, it just clicks off. I'm better than them. I'm hotter than them. I'm amazing. Anything they say, I don't care about it. I shut people out like that. But my brother called me out and he said, there's this thing you do, like when I send him and then he does something wrong, I'm always like, I don't have grace and kindness and patience. I'm not like, oh, how could I have helped you? Or what happened? Is there something that, you know, I'm always like, ata ungeweza kufanya, nilijua tu singekutuma. And it's something that comes off, it's not something I do intentionally, but it's something that I was made aware that I do. And although there's like the premeditation and stuff, like people are just mean out there, there's, what CJ said, hurt people. You don't realize when you're doing it. It's almost very subconscious. So it had to take for me to listen and sit down with myself and bring myself to consciousness and start to see when things don't go my way, how do I act? When someone pisses me off, what is my reaction? When, how do I, what, things like that. So I had to intentionally learn. And it's not easy because even now, I still do it. The only difference is I'm aware. And I'm able, yes, I catch myself and I'm able to be apologetic in time. I'm able to not justify, but like understand and explain myself better because healing is a process and nikokoyo process. So I'd say the only difference is that I'm aware so I can catch myself. But there's people who do this all the time. Hurt people, hurting people. So the best way for you to bring yourself to a position where you're able to see, especially from standing outside and understand what is being said, and for you to deal with people better and be very mindful of your words to other people and to yourself as well, is for you to bring yourself to yourself. You have to be conscious. It's difficult. It's not something too like I can say, stop saying bad words.
Yeah,
no?
I'll be conscious.
There's people who really don't even know that those are bad words. Like ukweli tu, anajua ni bad, but hajui the magnitude that their words have on other people. They do not know how, if I say this, like, maybe if I wanted to talk to CJ, maybe if I wanted to tell...
Yes? Shaz is raising her hand. Yes, Shaz.
I have something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, the biggest thing is, you know, at some point,
funny. Okay.
you don't get to be able to be unconscious. And I feel that's why it's daily practice. That's why at the end of every evening, relive your day to be able to see where you lost consciousness, where you lost grace, and how you can do tomorrow better. As you practice that in meditation, when you've stilled the mind, now you're not analytical, you're not putting yourself down, you're free of really absorbing who you were, how people reacted to you. But even remember, words, when people speak words and they speak hurtful words, it's because they don't want to go through penetration of feeling. So my words will sit here and my words to you will sit here, because anything beyond that is feeling, is emotion, is vulnerability, and I don't know how to do that. But when you're healing from people's words, it's to remember there are only two worlds that always exist, internally and externally. And if you wait to have conversations, if you wait to solve things outside of you, you're going to wait a long time. Yeah. If you practice inner healing, inner restraint, inner confidence, inner love, inner peace, I promise you, you can be in situations where people will say hurtful things to you. I promise you. And you can sit back and observe their world, because it's no longer your world. Because you're doing the work every day consciously to heal. But for people, the work is hard to do. So it's sitting down every single day, morning and evening, and choosing to meditate at a certain time. In the mornings to create the life you want, the day you want. In the evenings to look through the day you had, at the people in your lives, at the words that were said, and you reach a point where traffic can cut you, people can hurt you, and you turn around and be like, I'm just going to observe your world where you need to heal, and how I am not going to allow your words to come into my energy at all.
What about on the flip side, as we wrap up, what about the person who has realized, even just by all of us talking, that, wait a minute, I'm the person who has been causing pain. So I'm the person who's been, my words, either even just from the examples that we shared, maybe they might have said something similar to their significant other, to their child, and their children have not brought it up and they're quiet. So how do they change or bring it up, or make a conscious effort towards lasting change, not just, I'm sorry for now, let's hug, and then tomorrow I'm repeating the same thing?
So first, before you learn to use the mind to just go through your day, that's why keep your journal on your bedside and then write who you were today versus having written who you want to be and who you aspire to be. And you have to be so brutally honest with yourself in how you respond to people, how you expect people to be around you. But write it down. Where did I hurt somebody today? And then ask yourself, why did I do that? What feeling am I avoiding? Why did I cause someone pain? And for people who receive words on the other side, I tell people, ask yourself, if Willis or Roberta or CJ come and say something hurtful to me, ask yourself, is it true? Is what they're saying true about me? Or am I merely a mirror reflection for them to realize they have work to do, and for me to realize, wow, I still have to heal, so that I no longer attract people like this in my energy. And if so quickly I show you something with energy so quick, because no one believes we have electromagnetic fields around us. We have a choice to allow energy to come in and come out and how to clear that energy. But even if you rubbed your hands together really quick right now, and you did this just now, you activate both center points in the palm. And when you keep your hands like this and you close your eyes and you focus your attention on the energy between your palms, you will feel energy. And that's a sign of where focus goes, energy flows. You focus on words people are saying to you, it will hurt you. You focus on how to heal and not be in line of people's fire. That also changes. And people will fire. The world will change. People will be mean. People will cut you in traffic. You are no longer the same person reacting to their words. You are now just a response in your own energy.
All right, well, we're told, hey, Leo, people, please go back and take notes. A lot has been said that you shouldn't miss. Let's take a look at some of the some feedback, just a few of them, some few SMSs because of time. Take a look what y'all are saying out there. Lovely stuff here, if I show him end off. All right, but it's okay. There was a teacher who called me ugly when I was in primary school. I'm 34, and I've never gotten over it. Hopefully the things that have been said today will help you get over it. My husband used to tell me I'm not his class, and yet he married you. Anyway, hope again you've gone through it. Some words, curses, you just need to distinguish the difference. Okay. My ex once told me I am a mistake. The mass I occupy should have been given to someone else. Sure. Crazy. All right. Is that it? Or there's some tweets? All right, there's some tweets as well. Let's take a look at what you're saying on social media. Engineer Lazaro, children from abusive marriage, children born out of wedlock suffer from negative utterances from disgruntled parents. Which I think is a topic that we are going to talk about. Sorry, I'm trying to... Okay, I guess we need sikuski anymore, but ni sawa. Tuna wrap up. All right, let's wrap it up there. I do want to say, though, that all that has been said today, you need to go and catch this later on YouTube if you're just joining at the tail end to just listen to what everybody had to say about how to deal with this. We hope that it will help you. But over and above listening to this, you can reach out to CJ Atemo, at Robertta Bobbie, at Shazmin Bank, and, you know, talk to them at length, book them, you know, meet them, and just deal with the issues that you're dealing with as well. And if you're too scared, you can, you know, if there's somebody you can talk to somebody, unpack all this information. I always say, whether it's a priest, your imam, your friend who is very close, your pastor, or an actual therapist if you can afford it. And some, again, always look online, because some people offer some of these therapy services for free, at least the first few sessions, so you can get a feel of it. Even those will help you out. So get help, don't suffer, and remember what Medea says, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to. So sometimes, and what I think I've heard Shaz say, it could be just a mirror. Sometimes somebody is being mean to you because you've umeweka mirror na wanaona hata wako kazi, and hurt people. But at the end of the day, let's watch what we say. You see, hata Biblia inasema, let the redeemed of the Lord say. So, nitakuwa nisichukue kazi ya CJ hapo, but yeah, your words have meaning and power. Remember that, and that's why I always say successful people look like you, and most importantly, remember God loves you, and that will never change. Peace and love. Tuonane. Round 2.